You may know him for his 17 number one hits, his role in the legendary movie Urban Cowboy, or for his theater in Branson, where he has performed so many shows throughout the years. It is an honor to welcome country music legend Mickey Gilley to the Honky Tonk Time Machine tonight. Mickey, thank you so much for being a part of this. It is really something special to have you on.
Hey, it's a pleasure and honor to be on your show. I don't mind telling you, it's been a wonderful ride for yours truly. And I might be an old worn-out country music singer, but I'm still out there on the road pumping the songs out for the folks.
No doubt about it. In fact, I think you're sitting right next to Johnny Lee, who you know from your Urban Cowboy days, and you guys were going on tour together before this coronavirus stopped everything, right?
Well, you're right. About 2.5 years ago, I called Johnny up. I had a deal with Clay Cooper there in Branson, Missouri, to perform on the shows that Mel Tillis had dropped out on. And I asked him, I said, Clay, Mel Tillis is a pretty big star. And he says, well, you are too. I said, I've been in Branson for 25 years. He's going to come hear me sing, you know. I said, wait a minute. Let me see if I can get my friend Johnny Lee and we can put something together with the Urban Cowboy music. And so I called Johnny up, and Johnny said, yeah, I'll do it with you. So we went into the theater, and we had a blast, had a great time. And for the last 3.5 years, we've been doing a tour called the Urban Cowboy Reunion Tour. It's too bad we couldn't get, like maybe Charlie Daniels or Bonnie Raitt or somebody to join us and make it a threesome. But we've been having a great time, and it's been great fun for both of us.
Now, are the rest of the dates on that going to be canceled, made up? Do you know yet at this point?
We're trying to make up some dates, and this is the last year for the Urban Cowboy Reunion Tour. It don't mean that me and Johnny's not going to be working together, but we're going to drop the Urban Cowboy Reunion Tour and just do our music, you know, for the folks. Johnny's had, so many number one songs that we can't get them all in the time that we have allotted in most places we play. So we're going to try to split it up and him do his things on the Urban Cowboy and his show, and I'll do my songs from the Urban Cowboy and my show. And we'll still be working some dates together.
That's a good problem to have. Too many number one songs between the two of you.
Well, you know, we've been fortunate. I'm now 84 years old. Johnny's fixing to be he's at 73, and you know, we had a good ride in the country music field. In the 80s, we were pretty hot acts.
You bet. The 80s, you guys were huge superstars, and a lot of it had to do with Urban Cowboy coming out, which would have been 40 years ago this weekend.
40 years we've been out here performing these songs, and I can't believe it's lasted that long. It's been an unbelievable ride for both of us.
Did you know Johnny before Urban Cowboy, or is that when you met him?
Yeah, Johnny and I started working together back in the 60s. We worked at a club called the Nestadale Club, and then when I got Gilley's in 71, he joined me at the club, and we've been together just about all the way through our musical career. We split up for a while, but when the things came back around with the Urban Cowboy and after I finished my tenure in Branson at the theater, which we were separated for about 25 years, we put it back together, and it turned out to be a blessing for both of us.
How did Urban Cowboy come about? How did they choose Gilley's as the place they wanted to be, and how did they just kind of all come together for you and Johnny?
Well, what happened was my business partner installed a mechanical bull when I had to hit with a room full of roses, and I was looking working, went up above the city lights, and she's pulling me back again, bring it on home. The girls get pretty close in time. All of a sudden, I'm on the road with Conway Twitty and Miss Loretta Lynn, and he decided he wanted to try to attract the people from the livestock show and rodeo and the Pasadena rodeo. So he installed his mechanical bull, which was it's a rodeo training device, and he put it there in the club, and I thought it was a mistake at the time. And lo and behold, what was I ever wrong? Because an old boy from New York came down from New York City by the name of Aaron Latham, and he writes this article. It's called "It's the Battle of the Urban Cowboy." I didn't even like the article, but when he told me that we might get a film on that particular thing, I'm thinking, who in the world would ever do a film about the Urban Cowboy? And he said John Travolta. When he said John Travolta, I'm thinking he came off of Saturday Night Fever.
Yeah.
I said, oh my God! I mean, it could be a country night fever. And sure enough, John Travolta came down. Thanks to our PR firm out in Los Angeles at the time, they went to Paramount Pictures and said, if you want to make this authentic, you got to go where it happened at. And so they convinced the Paramount Pictures to come down and shoot it on location, and it's worked ever since for me and Johnny.
Yeah, because there was some pushback on John Travolta playing that role, right? Because he was the Saturday Night Fever guy. He was the grease guy. He wasn't country, right?
Well, I heard that, but I think with anybody else doing that lead part, it wouldn't have had the impact. I think John brought it together with it could have been called a country night fever, and Johnny Lee had the hottest song in the soundtrack with "Looking for Love."
Oh yeah,
it was number one 3 weeks for him. So it was a blockbuster song, and Of course, I had Stand By Me, but Johnny had the big song, Looking for Love. I see him shake his head up and down. Yeah. Keep talking, Gilley. keep blowing my horn for me.
Yeah, no doubt.
He's fixing to go down to Aransas Pass, I think, and go fishing. That's what he wants to do. So I told him I was going to drive him down and to one of his friends, and they're going to go fishing. I don't like to fish, and I don't like to hunt. So that's out of my realm of things that I love to do. I love to play golf. I can't do that anymore since my age, but I'm doing pretty good.
Yeah, I'm glad to hear you're still getting around really well, doing well enough to go on tour and still just doing what you love at this point in your life. That's awesome.
Well, I am. I'm having a chance, to go out and present the music to the folks. Thanks to the country music fans out there. They give me 17 number one songs. Johnny's had 10, 15, something like that. And when we go out there working together, it has been such a fun time for all of us. And I'm looking forward to getting back on the road when the virus thing is over with, because I'm stir crazy now, looking at four walls and TV all the time.
Now, I understand that you're cousins with Jerry Lee Lewis and Jimmy Swaggart. You come from a music royalty family.
Had not been for my cousin Jerry Lee Lewis, I probably never would have entered the music industry. He came into Houston back when he had a whole lot of shaking, and I'm doing construction work, making $1.25 an hour on a construction game. I was struggling. And all of a sudden, he comes down with a whole lot of shaking. I see how well he's doing in the music business, and I'm thinking, well, if he can do this, I can too. So I saw him not too long ago at his home in right outside of Memphis there, and I went to see him. And I told him, I said, I got to come see you before I pass, Jerry. And I said, because you're my hero. I said, because if it hadn't been for you, I probably wouldn't have gotten in the music business. So I don't see Jimmy that much, but I see Jerry Lee about every year or every 2 years.
Very cool. Such an icon, and he's still going, too. In fact, you guys grew up together down in Mississippi, Louisiana, right?
Well, we grew up there in Ferriday, Louisiana. We all three came out of that little small town, Jimmy and Jerry and yours truly. And, the incredible thing about it, we all had success in the music business. Jerry Lee was in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. I had 17 number one country songs, and Reverend Swaggart was one of the biggest gospel-selling artists in the world. So, we've been successful with what we've done, and thanks to the people out there that accepted us into their world, and it's been wonderful.
Yeah, and the folks from right here in Missouri have really accepted you in. You've been a staple out in Branson, which is out west of us here in Cape Girardeau, Missouri. But how have you enjoyed your time playing in Branson over the years?
The 25 years that I spent there with my friend Joey Riley, who passed away at 43 years old, was some wonderful moments in my life. I think it helped me become more of a performer and entertainer by having my theater and working with him on stage. One time I had a 7-piece band. I had a 4-piece horn section, had 2 girl singers, and it was just an awesome time in my life. We was dressing in tuxes, and we were trying to do a classy show, for the folks in Branson. It was a lot of fun. I'm kind of like the fact that, we're still doing the music, but I have quite as big a group. I got a 7-piece band, 2 girl singers, and me and Johnny on the road together, working with the band. And then we closed with the Urban Cowboy Medley at the end of the show. This is the last year, like I said. But we're going to hopefully do a couple of days in the fall at my old theater in Branson, Missouri, which I sold to a group in China. And I'm hoping that we get to come back in the fall. And this will probably be the end of my my year in Branson, probably totally.
Well, it has been one hell of a run, and on behalf of the state of Missouri, I'd just like to say it's been an honor having you perform in our state on a regular basis for over a quarter century.
State's been wonderful to me, and I love and thank all the folks that's come to the shows there. That's what's kept me in business, and it's been a great ride.
So 17 number one hits, 39 top 10 hits throughout your career, Mickey. Do you have a favorite song that you've recorded of yours?
Well, of course, Room Full of Roses will always be a part of my life because it opened the door for me back in 1974, my first number one record. The Girls Get Pretty Close in Time is such a classic tune. What's the true story of that song is, Yeah. But Stand By Me was the biggest song I've ever had, probably on account of the film The Urban Cowboy. So, my favorite song that I recorded back in the 90s was That's All That Matters to Me, written by Hank Cochran.
All good songs, man. You said the true story of Don't the Girls All Get Prettier at Closing Time, man.
Oh, I tell you what, I could not believe that song, I'll never forget, I played the song for my friend Conway Twitty, and he says, I don't think you need to do this, Tim Gill. He said, don't you know the ladies buy the most records? And I said, okay, I can go for that. He says, well, think about it. You put them down talking about them getting better looking at closing time. I said, yeah, but my drinking buddies will love this song. because it's a true story.
That's great. I think that's my favorite of yours. I think it is.
Such a classic tune.
Well, obviously, you're a big Johnny Lee fan. Who else are you a fan of?
Well, of course, Johnny's been like a brother to me for all the years that I've been in the music business. And, of course, I admire my cousin Gilley Lewis, but I was a big Elvis Presley fan.
Oh, yeah, me too.
And I've always enjoyed, the bluesy type music. That's the reason why I did Bring It On Home. But, I'm a big fan of my cousin Gilley. I loved Elvis. Of course, I've been a fan of Johnny's ever since we started working together back in the 60s. But, my friend T.G. Shepherd is a friend of mine. I like his music. Mo Bandy, I like Mo Bandy. Gene Watson, I think Gene Watson's a great singer. I like Reba McEntire. All the people that I've had a chance to work with, Crystal Gale. Of course, Loretta Lynn, I worked with her on the road. And, boy, what a great gal she is.
Mm-hmm.
And Dolly Parton. They're always wonderful people in the country music field.